What's up, guys? You're listening to DORiS Radio on WHCP 101.5. I'm Marco.
I'm Joe.
I'm Janine. Girl Shaquanna.
And today we are going to be listening to the music of Roderick Russ. You guys want to?
That was my baby brother. You know, the whole music platform and all that started at a very young age. Dancing, that came from our sister. She pushed us pretty much into, dancing early. We looked up to her when it came to that. The whole artistry, rapping, singing, that came from me. After I pretty much started it, he pretty much picked up where I left off when I didn't have time for it no more.
What else? What song are we going to be listening to first?
I would like to start with his freestyle song. It's pretty much a freestyle that he did, but the video speaks better. But of course, it's over the radio, so you can't see the video. But what I love about the song is his energy, and it really showed in the video that he did. He full on energetic, dancing around. The music itself makes you want to jump up and start dancing.
What about you guys? What of this song does it remind you of about Roderick?
Like I said, his energy, everything that he brings, because that's what he is just very comical, full of life, and you can hear that through his music, and you can also feel it through watching videos of him dancing.
That's one of my favorite songs, too. You're probably going to hear me say that quite a bit. I ain't going to lie. Anybody that can fight me for the title, but I am the biggest fan. I'm the biggest fan from birth. So I am I'm not biased, my honesty in their art, and I can definitely respect about my brother. Was honest in everything he wrote. He was honest that he did, and that was one of the times where I could remember having a conversation with him, and that's where a lot of his music came from. Us just him having thoughts, and having an outlet, and that was one. It felt like a lot of naysayers, a lot of haters, so that freestyle. It just was a freestyle, and it wasn't even supposed to be a video or anything. But that's just how he was feeling. Yeah, that's just how he was feeling, and he wanted to show it and display it and tape, and that's just kept going. And that's what it was. So it's a favorite.
See y'all
almost like the
stick to my roots. Pretty much, it's just him venting, telling you how he feel, like he does in most of his songs, talking about his struggles and people doubting him, and him showing them pretty much and how hard it is to make it from a small city like Cambridge.
Small little town, barrels a crab type of him constantly fighting that, and you see it in a lot. So honestly, it's probably gonna sound like we're repeating ourselves throughout this interview because that's how he felt. A constant show his heart, not really necessarily proving it, because in his songs, if you're actually listening, you can hear the confidence. He has it, but then you also hear the doubt from the naysayers. So it's like, which one believe? Which one do you listen? And you hear him, like most artists, talking it out. And that separated him. Just, I guess, I really tend to believe they're just their flowers. So, I don't know, go underneath the radar a little bit. And that's the thing. He's always letting, like, I'm here. I might be quiet for a little bit. I might even doubt myself a little bit, but I'm still here. And if you don't praise you, if you don't speak for you, and you don't stand firm on, nobody else will. Nobody will take you serious. So you can hear in his songs where he speaks that out. He talks it to himself. He lets you in his world. And I really like that. So a lot of our conversations are his songs. So when I'm listening to his music, I don't cry because I'm sad because he's not. Even though that part is true, I'm crying because he did it. Like, he did what he wanted. He's still doing what he wants. He's still being heard. He's still being felt. When people listen to his song, you can hear those conversations. Those are grown-up conversations. I told him that, one of our many car rides and, brother-sister convos that we have. I appreciate the growth because we have an adult conversation. Take that into your music. Take that with you. Speak your mind and your heart. Be free. When you're free, you set other people free. So if that's what you want to do it through your music, do it through your dancing, and do that. So a lot of those conversations or a lot of the music that you hear are just that, conversation within itself, conversations of the heart, conversations with the mind, conversations what's in life in general that I think all to one degree or another can relate to. And you might not be going exactly what he's going through, but you still relate somehow, some way. Because regardless if it's in corporate setting, you have some doubting you, knocking your genius, knocking your gifts, knocking what are naturally God giving yours. However, one thing about him as well, perfected. He worked on. So, you not only do you have people trying to snatch his, as I would call it, your crown, you're going to have people trying to snatch your crown, but make them work for it. And that's one thing I used to tell them all the time. Make them work for it. If they're going to take it, you're going to have to let them work. Every dance battle, every rap battle, if it was something he was just sending me a beat for, make them work. Make them work. They want your title, make them work for it. Don't just hand it to them. Make them work. Make them. Sorry.
Well, that was perfect.
That's one song. I'm sorry, y'all. That's one song. Lord, we gonna make it. We gonna make it through this. I'm sorry.
I find that to be a big takeaway with his music. Self-affirm. That's something that we all experience. He is giving them take that head on and reaffirming yourself that you are enough. You have what it takes. And I find that to be very inspiring. And so I think it's cool, hearing the behind the scenes. You got hearing where that comes from. You guys' car rides, and seeing where he gets that self-assurance from, that he's able to share with people through his music, and seeing your guys' relationship. That makes sense. Seeing there's a lot of uplifting, a lot of support, and seeing that you guys all do music, you all are creative, and it makes a lot of sense to see how he has that support system at home, and then he is a support system itself. And I find that to be
got to have no solid foundation. It crumbles.
Yeah.
And that's one thing we definitely one thing our mom installed in us. Stick definitely, or as he would say, mom dukes or something like that. Something like that. But not just mom, but
Put the S on it.
Moms.
That's right.
That's the official name.
Yeah, she made sure to let us know it's just us. Stick with each, look out for each other. So that's what we've done. We've done that in our own, regardless. We all have our own lives. We all have our own little families and things like that. But definitely coming together, being able to pick up that phone. It was definitely important to be able to pick up the. I'm gonna miss that phone call. When I need talk. That the music in my inbox, something like that. Just where should I go to hook? What about that? Those different.
Or the late night getting on my nerves, listening to the music over and over and over and over again. Here it's 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. Oh my God! But
just
if I could just hear that
Super
again,
perfectionist.
I would give anything to hear that again.
I think we all are perfectionists.
in our own way. Yeah, that's why we've been sitting here trying to what hour and a half trying to get the thing right. But that's him, and he would work. It would be maybe just a hook, having a melody to replaying over and over and over, and he would just work it until he can't work it anymore. He understood. Yeah, I got to get up and I got to go to work. However, he knew what his purpose was. And it was one that a lot of people.
Oh my God, his heart was like gold, because as y'all call it, haters. Even the haters, he would help them.
Yeah, that part.
He would help them. He wasn't trying to just get it all for himself. He would help them.
Tell us about
The community part. Okay. His thing was honestly by accident. I don't know if I'm going to call it accident or God's perfectly designed plan.
I would call it that.
From the outside looking in, it felt like an accident. It seemed like an accident. I remember him coming to me and him talking about dance, or even before the groups. Before the groups, it was just us. In my mom's kitchen, my mom always had an oven that sat up really high, so we kind of used it like a mirror. And I would sit up there and I would do routines over and over, regardless of what dance team I was in or on, just whatever. Or no dance team at all, just going over different routines, making up things myself, and they would just watch. I would call them in and say, hey, y'all, try this, do this, do this. My 2 brothers and then another brother, RJ, or he feels like a brother. He's a first cousin, but he feels like another little brother to me. So I would call him in and go over different things. As time went on, of course, one of the biggest things he was made fun of for dancing. Oh my God! They called him the gay boy for the longest time because of dancing. Because when he did dance, he got a lot of attention. So he says, "How this? How you do that? How do you?" So we would go over different things. I would show him. And he just did it because it felt good. It felt right to him, and that was our little thing. That's how we bonded. That's how we talked. That's what we did. As he got more confident, showing it off in school, doing different things, showing other friends. And he ended up being in a few other groups, being noticed. They would call him, the secret weapon or something like that. He would have his part. And his dance style was very different, but everybody knew it was something. So even though sometimes they couldn't figure out exactly what to do with him, they just knew he was important. So he would have his own segment, type of thing. And his actual dance group, like I said, I don't know if it was designed by God or if it was just an accident, but a lot of people would come to him and kept asking him to start a group, and he would talk to me about it. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe you should. Maybe you should start your own group. Maybe you should. I don't know, sis. Da-da-da-da-da. So it kept happening, and it would be people that would come, and they would actually be a part of other groups and things like that, but they were the misfit. They were too big or too this, or they couldn't quite do that right, or they were a little bit slower, or they were off beat or something. And he would take the time and he would work on things with them, not being a part of their group, not trying to overstep, but just helping the individual that was in front of them. So it was a lot of that, and a lot of them kept coming and kept coming. Then the next thing you know, my mom's grass was dead out front because they, they got happy feet. They started coming over more and more consistently to the point where they all just kept saying, you should do a group, you should do a group. And he kind of did. In his group, it sucks to say it, but in the beginning it was more like a bunch of misfits or things like that, because it was people that actually didn't dance or like I said, that were from other groups but were more like the rejects of the groups. And he just took and he worked with them. Some friends, hey, that's pretty cool, can you show me how to whatever? And he took the time and he did. So it was an accident. So he started it was LOB first.
I remember LON.
Well, it started off as LOB, Let Out Boys, and then it grew from that.
Because they added girls, so it
Not
became
only-
Let Out Nation.
Yes, they didn't just girls would come and says, I don't know, this not really what do we do? It's the same name. Well, he never turned anybody away because of their sex, their religion, what they were into, anything, like none of that. It was a safe space. The only thing they had to worry about was either me coming out or my mom coming out and fussing about leaning on the fence or something like that. Other than that, it was a safe space. Parents could find their kids if they wanted to. All they had to do was come to mom's house, and there's your child, after school. So it was girls that wanted to be in it, so it became Let Out Nation. And it got that big. It ended up being that big where, started off with, 4 people, something like that. And it just grew.
Four
I
or five.
remember I was like in 8th grade when the whole LOV and LON started taking off.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember hanging out with my friends and like seeing Rob around town, and we still want to be like one of the dancers so bad. So we used to be in like their house dancing like how to rock off.
Learning,
and,
yeah.
And it's like he had like a genuine spirit, because even though he knew we couldn't dance, he was
tried.
still nice, he would still be friendly to us. And I remember seeing him in church at like New Life when I was younger, and like I knew he was different then, because when most people like get happy in church, they do the the traditional just step. I remember being a little girl and watching him just dance around the whole complete church.
Yeah.
And you felt the
gonna mention
spirit
that.
in him.
Yeah.
So,
And going.
yes.
And nobody wanting to stop them or touch them because they all felt it. Sometimes the
Solid.
church would just get quiet and just watch, because it was just,
And that's what I wanted to say, that I did not do the LOB or the LON dances, but I praise dance.
Yeah.
So I praise dance. He watched me praise dance. So I watched him praise dance. So he praise dance. He didn't only do that. What is it called? I don't know what the
Mama's
dancing
everything.
I don't know what the dancing is called, but he didn't only do that. He danced
rocking
in
off.
church too. He praise dance as well.
Yep.
Yeah, he did.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
We did a couple of routines with you. When you would call on us, she would ask us for a little assistance. We put our swag on it, swag it out for her real quick.
That's so cool because we talk a lot about the importance of arts in our lives, especially for kids, and so to see that coming from the parent, having that creates spirit alive, and so much sense that comes from that.
And his brother also danced. They started off with just Roderick, Joe, and RJ. That's all it was at first.
Yeah, it was the group that I started. It was called KBR, Killer Bridge Rockers.
Yep.
Killer Bridge Rockers, Cambridge.
Oh, okay.
Cambridge, Killer Bridge Rockers.
All right.
It started off with me, my cousin RJ, and my cousin Reds and Rye. We actually won a dance competition. Well, it was a talent outreach competition in high school. That's when we took off. And then from that, we joined a group, Raging Unstoppables. And that's where he became the secret weapon. We were supposed to be drummers, but they got us to come off the drums to dance.
Yep.
Okay.
And then from that, he started his own group because he really blew up from, dancing in the parades and stuff. Like, we were all good, but it was something about him that made him stand out. Like, he had the flair. He ended up going to a dancing academy and all of that because of his talent. And as far as the LOB to the LON, like, the group started off with like 4 of them: Gerard, Khalil, RJ, and my brother. And it just blew up. And I mean, you had people in the group that had like anxiety issues and stuff like that, and they leaned on him, and he took that away from them. So that's pretty much how that blew up. And he had the younger kids and stuff that really looked up to him, and they just wanted to be around him. Like, there was this younger boy named DJ that always came around, and he had him basically battle dancing at pool halls and stuff like that. And they had their own students after a while. Khalil had his own dancers and stuff like that, and they would get them to battle each other and stuff, which made the group grow until females started wanting to join and stuff.
And they had to do the same thing. They had to battle. It was nothing about Rob when it came to. I don't really think he just did it because giving kids something to do outside of the norm, like he was giving them a place for their energy, for their anxieties and things, a place of release, relief and release. Here, it's a little hard, and you don't have a place to place your anger. It's a lot of things to be angry about that sometimes people think we shouldn't be, and we're human, we have feelings. So what do you do with them? Where do you place them? You just bottle them up, but then, you can't do that. The angry black or woman, you can't release it in certain ways, or the only option that they give us is to be a certain type of way, a gangbanger or whatever the case may be. So he gave other people outlets without even understanding what he was doing. You will be around a few of his friends even now, like, they are quiet, they don't speak, they don't talk. Let them pick up a pen, though. They got a lot to say. But you won't hear, on a regular, you won't hear them speak. Like, you will be around them, you could be around them for hours, but you won't really hear them, not unless they're being spoken to or something like that. Somebody's asking them a question or whatever. You have a couple of them that are really quiet, really introverts. They don't express. You would never know, listening to some of them songs, you would never even think they would say some of the things that they have on in such a way. But if it wasn't for Rod giving them an outlet or showing them how to.
And that's something if I think of outgoing, extroverted, that's what I think about with Roderick Russ. I can see how that's just inspiring for people who are introverted. Seeing someone like him, he was a bright person. When he came in the room, it's like he made people feel comfortable.
Especially with a smile.
Yes, always grinning, always grinning. And that's a skill, real skill, to be able to pull that out of people. That was something he had now.
I believe he. I don't care what nobody else say. I
That's
believe
it.
he was God's gift because all the things that my daughter was describing how he was helping other people, he had the same issues inside him. I mean, I fought. I mean, I stood by his side through school, through everything. I fought for him, and you would never know that in how he expressed. He had a whole lot of hurt inside, but you would never ever know it. And so he helped other people with the things that he was dealing with. So music, dancing, that was his outlet. That was his life. And like when I went to North Carolina and South Carolina, I don't know which one I was in both. I was in both of them. But anyway,
Back and forth,
the small kids, our small cousins, like they know his music. 7-year-olds, like. And that all I was known for was Rah Rah Ma. I felt like a celebrity. I mean, I really did. Like, they came and kissed me. I mean, they were doing his dance moves, so they're watching his videos. I mean, she even asked me, do you have baby pictures of him? Like, you know, it was
Another
just
kid,
so
another kid. They
heartwarming.
need
And
proof.
all I could say, yes, yeah. All I could say was, like, wow. Like, because, like, he is physically gone. Never been to the Carolinas before, and you have people like adults and children who has never met him or maybe met him once, but they know his music from beginning to end. And like one time they were standing out there cooking and the men came in and those men never met him and they like just stopped and watched his videos and then was commenting, and I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah, you can
Like
definitely
he's
tell
still
it wasn't
touching hearts, even
fake.
though he's gone. He's still touching people's hearts through his music. That means a lot. Yes, his spirit rings, and it always will be. And that's the only thing that's keeping me going, because I felt like I was going to break down, like I was really going to break down. Any other time I feel like I probably would have broke down. But like I said, I always fought for him. I cannot pray for him anymore. It's nothing that I can physically do for my son anymore. So the only thing that I can do is let his spirit live through me, and that's the only thing that keeps me going. So as long as I'm alive, I mean, I know them, but I'm only speaking personally for myself. As long as I'm alive, his spirit is going to live on. He will not be forgotten at all.
He can't. He's done too much, and that's the thing. I really appreciate to all y'all listening. I really appreciate all the inboxes, all the text messages, all the when you guys do see me and don't really know what to say, but it always seems to be what I need at the moment. So I appreciate all the good stories that you guys shared with me, regardless if it was just something as small as seeing his smile. You letting me know that seeing his smile every day before work or at work or doing work, that made your day better. It made your day brighter. Or the conversations that you guys had, older, younger ones. I really appreciate seeing every life that my brother has touched. And when I say it's been quite a bit, it's overwhelming, but overwhelming the best ways. I appreciate it because it's really a mirror. It's a reflection. Or the way I look at it is a reflection of the love that he put out there. It's coming back, and it's so strong that he's not here, but it hits us. So we still connect to it through the love that, you guys show for him to us. So it is really, really appreciated. His group or groups, I really don't like to call them groups because that was something that I really wanted to mention at his celebration of life, that even though we keep saying groups, they're not groups. They're family. And so when they say LOB or LON, like they really go hard. LS4L, they really go hard. Wolfpack, they really go hard. Like they ride for him. And it's such a beautiful thing to see. Unfortunately, the circumstances is not great. Of course, because that's why we're here. We definitely want to continue to seek justice. And for an individual like him, he definitely deserves the justice. He's done too much in the community for a lot of our kids. I mean, speaking for myself, my daughter, she looked at him and still continues to look at him as a father figure. I hadn't even thought to ask her to write something for the funeral. It didn't even cross my mind, well, for his celebration of life. Didn't even cross my mind to ask her. My mom mentioned it. I said something to her. And I mean, in no time flat, she was on her laptop, a 10-year-old. She's on her laptop. She sent me an email telling me, Mom, check your text, look at it. I'm like, all right. And her very first line, I'm not going to go into all of it, but her very first line was, my Uncle Rob was someone my father could never be. That was the first line. And that was no coercing. That was no me telling her what to say. I just asked her if she wanted to write something for him, for them to read, and it could be whatever you like. And I didn't think or really even expect her to go in the way that she did, but I have to remember that this is the same little girl at 5 years old that had a conversation with me as her mom. Hey, Mom. I'll never forget that conversation. Hey, Mom. I want to talk to you about something, and I don't know exactly how, and I want to talk to Uncle Rod, and I don't know how. What's up? I know who my father is. I know who my dad is. But I just want to know if I could call Uncle Rod my dad. I just want to know if I could call him dad number 2. Because he does. And this is without me even asking. I'm just letting her talk. Didn't have to say why. Went directly into it. Because I feel like my uncle does all the things with me that my father should. He takes me to the park. And this is a 5-year-old. She's just listing stuff. He takes me to the park. He calls to check on me. He makes sure I'm okay. He'll ask me if I need something. When I go to the store, he asks me if I want anything. He gets me whatever I want from the store. And he always just calls to how I'm doing. He spends time with me. He loves me. I know Uncle Rod loves me. And he shows it. And that's just a part of the conversation that I feel comfortable sharing. But that's just to show you. And I told her, after she finished, I told her I understood. And I just told her, I said, yes, you can have a conversation with Uncle Rod. I believe he'll definitely understand exactly how you feel. He knows that place is your place to not have a big party, to not have your heart, and to feel a little lonely. So I'm pretty sure he'll understand. I want you to be as clear and explain to him exactly everything you said to me in the same exact way you said it. I want you to go say it to Uncle Rod. Well, can I go now? Can you take me now? Sure. Let's go. Let's see if Uncle Rod's home. Get to the house, you guys. No lie. I wanted to be nosy so bad, but I didn't. I just wanted to hear what he was going to say, what he was going to respond. So I'm like, okay, I'm having a conversation with my mom, letting her know what's going on. And God knows I really want to be nosy so bad. But she steps back in the house off of the porch, the little studio area. She comes back and she has this bright old smile and she goes, Uncle Rod said he got me. And that's the end of it. Never said nothing else. Uncle Rod said he got me. So that's dad number 2, regardless of who made her feel bad about it. That's her dad number 2. I mean, so my brothers definitely stepped up, daddy-daughter dates or something like that. I can count on one of them to really show and be that, you know. And he was like that for a lot of the younger. And even at the time, I knew, but I didn't know how deep the impact was. That's why it's a little odd for me to really hear group. And I think it's a little uncomfortable for his people or family members of the groups to really be like group, because they take it so seriously and they really, the ones that, they don't even dance anymore. But they will rap it, they will hold it down. Some of them have the tats on them, you know. Of course, going back a little ways, not even knowing how big it could be, but, you know, just him having that fight as a leader, standing up for his, always pushing. And that was one thing I talked to him about all the time, and I was so proud of him for knowing how to let your team win, let your team shine. Definitely wasn't a person to hog the spotlight. Like, he was so proud to see his team go. Like, he was cheering them on. He was their biggest cheerleader. The biggest fan of the group, him. Any of them, him. Because he's there, like, the loudest one.
He's a hype man.
Yeah. For them, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, he's a hype
Even
man.
though everybody's there to wait on him to see him come out. His team.
A natural born leader.
Yeah, man.
His team. Put his team on. Let his team shine. Y'all do this. Y'all got this. You know, always encouraging. The kids, oh my God, some of them fell on their face. You know? He did a little snicker to the side. All right, come on, such and so, get up, whatever. Back on it. And it's old videos, you would see it, but you really, even me being a part of it, I didn't quite see how impactful it would be, even to where you got they're 7-year-olds and 6-year-olds, and they'll see him in the store, and he's done with dancing and all of that now. He's just going to the store, just a regular corner store. They on him, hey, Roger, like, come on. They ready to cut another step, like right then and there. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, you know, so certain things never die, or the ones that have chosen to go other paths and still come back and show him the love and respect. That's big, you know. Some of them don't even honestly have too much respect or love like that for their own family, and for them to see him, maybe not see him for 5-6 years, and they just see him. And I mean, when I say love, is love.
Hasn't changed.
Yeah. Like, they go back to being them same little boys, just looking, or maybe some of the ones that were dancing, just there with them all over again. You can just see it. And they all, like, they never age. Like, you can see the love in them. And they were always so excited to see him, so happy to see him, regardless of what they were doing in the moment or what type of look they have now, you know, some little hardcore, little this, little that. But love's still the same, yeah. None of it. It could be a quick second, but that second, it's gonna be 100% attentive, and it's gonna be nothing but love. And I can appreciate that, seeing all those different interactions.
Ra, I really knew him as Ra growing up. Like, last time I saw him, it was me and my brother and a couple of my friends. We were at my parents' store, and him and my brother were going back and forth about who had the longest dreads. And like, they were going on for it forever, because my brother just started growing his. He was like, I got you, Ra, my dreads was yours. And Ra, before he left, he was like, you got to know when to stay humble. And he was like, we're going to test the dreads out again. But it's just like seeing him for that quick moment after not seeing him for a while, like getting a hug from him. And even when you give him a hug, it's like you felt how sincere as a person he was, you know? And it's just like, I don't know. He definitely missed that type of person. Because those are rare to find. Like, someone who's genuine and has like a pure passion for things, a pure sincerity for what he says and how he acts. It's like, that's a diamond in the rough. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad I've met him. And
I think, well, one, thank you. I think that's probably why it hurts so much, the community, not just us. And as I'm going through this process, or as we all are going through the process, I think I can speak for all of us. There's been a lot of love, probably a lot of things we didn't know that our brother or son has done behind the scenes, how he's touched other people in so many different ways. And I'm thankful and I'm grateful. And I think that's why the support from the community has came easily for the most part. You definitely have some people who are how do I say this nicely? We on on the radio. You definitely have people who are wolves in sheep's clothing. I'm gonna put it like that. Wolves in sheep clothing. But when it comes to the actual genuineness and the pureness, a lot of people want to get things done. The support that we've received, just like you guys reaching out to us just to make sure, you know, who he is, not just his music, but who he is get heard. You guys could have easily just said, sure, let's put some songs on and let's just call it that. But no, you guys wanted to hear about the heart, mostly because you've experienced it some yourself. And that's what I'm talking about. It's the want to. So I'm glad we have people that are not just saying how much they love him, but actually showing and doing. So that's another reason why we asked for the continued support for our candlelight visual, February the 6th at
5:30.
At 5:30. Just to come out, support. Even if you decide not to walk with us, just meet us to the police station. Because we don't want something like this just to be sat on or swept underneath the rug. And we kind of feel like that's a little bit what's going on when it comes to the actual officials and things. As far as, I'm going to say, the lay people in the community, I honestly just really want to say thank you guys. From that night forward, I really should. Everything that has happened prior, as far as the love and the support, shouldn't be of shock to me. I mean, because even as far as gosh, this is hard to even say. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm not used to hearing it. It doesn't seem like my brother's story should. It's definitely not going to end like this. It's just shocking to have a gut-wrenching part like this in his story because he doesn't deserve it. And the way that it happened is because he's so loyal and it's because he's so loving. Not because he's a bad person, because of his heart. It happened because of his heart, because of his loyalty, because of his love, you know, and sometimes showing that to the wrong people. Not so great things happen. But like I said, I should have really known because even that night, as things were going on, I had nothing but support, nothing but answers to questions I hadn't even asked, but answers to questions that I definitely would need to assist in this whole process of catching my brother's killer. It's so hard to say. It's hard to hear out loud because that's just a line I don't even say. My brother doesn't deserve to have a killer. A lot of what people don't know is because of his heart. You know, it's not just a saying. It's really not just a saying on Facebook. Sometimes your heart gets you put in some not so great places. Even you think you're being loyal, loving to others. Sometimes you gotta let people find their own way out. You can't step in for them. And this would be one of those situations where I wish my brother didn't step in. But because he stepped in, because he showed love, because he showed loyalty, this is where the cards are falling. So he definitely deserves justice. He definitely deserves some people to stand with him, because that night he didn't have anybody to stand for. He stood for somebody. Now we need to stand for him. So I'm asking on the behalf of myself, my family, just because of what's right, stand with us. Some pressure on him know how loved he really is.
Thank you. That's something I wanted to ask you guys. How can be of support? What are ways a community can move forward? And I appreciate you guys' willingness to share such a personal story, because it's a learning experience as well, you know, and how to deal. What is the proper way of going about it? Full transparency, I hesitated a long time before I sent that message. Retyped it like 3 times because I didn't. It's just like, what do you say? What is the right thing to say? What is the appropriate thing to say? It's very difficult. So I didn't. As far as y'all, in as much detail as you want to feel comfortable with, what are some ways that we can stay on them, as you said, let them know how loved he is, and be of support. Yeah, so I didn't start with that just because I didn't know how would y'all feel comfortable going. So whatever
That's
you
okay.
feel. Yeah.
I mean, of course, the first thing right now is like what I said earlier, which is the candlelight visual. It's not a long walk. It's a walk, but it's not a long one. It's peaceful. However, just because something is peaceful doesn't have an impact. Just because it's peaceful doesn't mean it doesn't have an impact. And that's the whole point. That's what we want. We want a impact, and we need you guys' support for the impact.
Where does the walk start?
It will start at Salvation Army.
Up by Cool Ice?
Yes.
Okay.
I try to make it for a
5:30.
short walk because I don't.
You wanna walk?
Kind of cold.
Yeah.
So from Salvation Army up into the front part of the police station, so it's really literally down the street. So like I said, even if you guys don't want to walk, you just always maybe park at Food Line or something,
And
to
just
stand, you know, do it that way. So just the more support, the better.
The more you say his name.
Yes.
That's what I want. I don't want his name to die. The more you say his name. And if it's more people like you, like if it could get in the newspaper over and over and over and over and over again, and not just his name, but his killer's name and his picture. Because we want justice. We can't have our son back, but this person can do this to someone else.
Yep.
I mean, so
Definitely,
if
'cause there was
people
no
just
reason
get
for
his
him to do it
name
to
and
him.
stuff out there, and the killer's name out there.
It's definitely gotta keep the story going. This is our second episode. On last week we had Andrew Bradshaw on. Mentioned any way that we can try to push to make sure that it doesn't, because
Because it's 3 months in.
yeah. And that happened. We see it's happened time and again.
Yes,
time
3
and time
months
again.
in,
And now
and-
it's personal. And we want to make sure that what does happen so often, we want to make sure they don't again.
Exactly.
It does tend to get, it's just forgotten. We make sure you guys know that it is we have, and make sure that the officials are.
Yeah, it seems like that's kind of what they're doing. Definitely understand, it's mask season for COVID. So it makes things a little more tricky, but it shouldn't be so tricky because they have had everything they've needed from
The beginning.
day one. I mean, literally the second. When I say the people of the community have really
No news
showed
coverage.
out. Yeah.
No news coverage.
No.
And when I ask, they don't handle that. Okay, so when I go personally, okay, it got to come from the police station. So how do you get it out? Just like I told the one officer that I talked to, okay, my son had a walk like no other. So even though it's mass season, as my daughter said, even if this guy was to walk, if he had a distinctive walk,
He does.
even if, he had a hood or whatever on, a person could catch him by his walk. It seems like you're not doing as much as you can. And that's my problem.
Yep.
Because if it was my son that did something to somebody else, I believe it'd be all over the place.
That's real.
And it wouldn't need.
That's true, Mom. Speak your piece.
So, if anybody can come out February the 6th at 5:30. The walk will start at Salvation Army, and it will end at the Harriet Tubman little monument there. And if it's bad weather, February the 20th at 5:30.
And if anything changes on as well. Wrap up.
You want to say anything? Well, as I always say, and he will always be with me. His spirit will live on with me. He will be my king, my angel, my son forever.
Y'all ready?
You know how we coming.
Hey, that's it.
Thank y'all.
Thank you guys.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry it took
That's
so
all.
many takes. I know.
The conversation will resume momentarily.